Alright, so I'm doing a challenge trying to platinum every single game inside of the Ubisoft Plus game catalog on PlayStation. And if I can't do it before we hit 690,000 subscribers on YouTube, then I have to tattoo the platinum logo somewhere on my body. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Alright, so today I decided to platinum Far Cry New Dawn since it is the shortest Far Cry game, and I needed to get a little confidence boost before starting the grind for R6 today. So Far Cry New Dawn has a total of 51 trophies inside, and I'm just gonna say it right now. This is by far the worst Far Cry game I think I've ever played. Not a single moment throughout the game's story did it ever have any meaning of value, and it's honestly just a glorified DLC to Far Cry 5 that absolutely nobody asked for. Oh my god! Alright, now that I've pissed off a few people, let's begin. The first stage to the platinum is to, of course, just beat the story. Wow, where have we heard that one before? So the story opens up with some cutscenes explaining what the game is about and the lore of its setting. We learn that this is indeed post Far Cry 5, where a bunch of nukes got dropped after the crazy-ass Joseph Seed pretty much made his cult destroy the entire world because the voices in his head said so. Honestly, what a perfect reason, I can't even complain. We also learned that the Highwaymen are like the game's main villain. Basically, it's just another group of bullies that want to take over the world just like the previous cult. And the game also zones in on this random girl right here as the narrator, which I'm not sure why because she is rarely in the game after this intro, so that's kind of useless. Just like the current people in America's politics. But then we actually get to play, and it's basically just an intro mission where everything ends up going wrong as you would expect. You know, typical Far Cry game setting up technique. And we end up all alone as all other games in the Far Cry series begin with, having to scavenge materials and even craft weapons. As if this game couldn't get any worse. You now have to craft any gun you want to use. Why the fuck? I did get to use that saw gun, however, to go obliterate my first outpost of the game and get an intro into Far Cry New Dawn's combat system, which by the way might be the worst downgrade I have ever seen from a sequel. Not sure how you copy paste a game like Far Cry 5 over to a new one and manage to make it worse in every single way. But hey, at least it's different, I guess. I did get my first trophy right after that though, because we made it out of the enemy land and back to home base, which is called Prosperity. And I also got to make my character finally. Gotta say, this man reeks Montana, and I love it. My first mission here in the story was to go save Rush from the enemies at a coal mine he is being enslaved at. Rush is this guy from earlier, and also like a genius, I guess, so he is basically the people's savior. On the way there, though, I stopped to do a quick little supply drop mission because I saw it and it intrigued my interest. After yoinking the supplies from it, I of course got a trophy. We ended up having to battle some enemies in the coal mine moments later, but upon finding Rush, I think he was doing just fine. Bro managed to basically escape on his own if we were being honest. There was then a little turret combat section while we got chased down by loads of enemies, but this would end when Rush decided his quote-unquote leg was too f***ed up to drive. I'm gonna call Cap because he literally just drove us all through the night, but whatever. Make your excuses. I know what kind of man you are now, Rush. Anyways, we finally made it back to Prosperity, and Rush stumbles in, begging for attention from the two lesbians right here. Kind of a weird fetish, but you go, king. My next mission then gave me a trophy, and it had me find this dude named Bean's business plans inside of some burning bunker. And look, what a coincidence. The safe is just wide open with the plans sitting right there, somehow not being burned. Yeah, okay. After I gave Bean the plans though, I then received the trophy, so I won't make fun of the game right now. I also had to do this very annoying fetch quest after, where this cracked out lady needed her meds, as she calls them. Really? But to get them, I fell into a damn sewer and had to flood the place to get back up. Overall, it was kind of AIDS to do. So I was very thankful when the lady gave me a trophy after I found her dumbass drugs she is so desperate for. I then captured my first outpost in the game, which wasn't that hard at all. And following its capture, I decided to lose its capture and scavenge it as the game calls it. Doing this for the first time gives you a trophy, by the way. But scavenging an outpost pretty much just resets it and makes it harder, so yeah, that's a feature. And this tier 2 difficulty introduced enforcer enemies to me for the very first time. These are the hardest normal enemies in the game, aside from bosses of course, but killing one this early on without really any weapons was a feat that I knew instantly would not happen. So I ended up just using this turret and completely abusing the guy. After killing him, I also got a trophy, so who's the loser now, because it definitely is still me. Oh yeah, I also got a trophy for just upgrading a building in Prosperity for the first time, and we ended up having to defend Prosperity from being attacked by the Highwaymen right after. They low-key went hard here, I won't lie, and this fight was long as hell. It also didn't help that pretty much none of the other people here did anything aside from scream and yell for help as they got got curb stomped, but hey, I guess it is solely my job to save them, which is why I got a trophy after doing that. And after that ordeal, it also began part 2 of the story, which I swear to God, part 1 lasted an hour of actual story missions, and I'm now concerned for this game's poor story already. Part 2 though kicks off with us having a mission heading to New Eden. Now if you remember anything about Far Cry 5, then you would know that New Eden was the old bad boys place where the cult resided, and I guess they are still there, just not so impactful this time around. On my journey there though, I did get a trophy for just foraging plants, which is great. Anyways, once I got there, we got a load of trippy stuff like you'd expect. Hell, even Joseph Seed showed up, and I honestly don't know what the hell caused this or why this happened. Realism just left the room, like, he's gone. Sorry, he's just gone. But it did lead me into this room where a book called Joseph's Word resided. And this is like the cult's Bible that they worship for its sacredness. So I brought it back to them, and they basically think I'm a god now. Except this guy, who is Joseph's son, he hates me because he wanted to find the book and get worshipped instead of me. They hate us because the anus, am I right? Oh yeah, I also had to storm this giant skull statue on some mountain which the highwaymen control because it's sacred to the cult people, I guess. So I did that and then threw a molly on the gas below to light it back and recapture the hopes and dreams of the cult. I also had to reflect for a moment or two on my life after that mission. Actually, I'm just kidding. I think I went to take a fat dookie in the toilet. Anyways, my next mission was to go find Joseph's seed inside of his domain, which is protected by a load of drug fumes and stuff, so this was again very trippy and very realistic. I did end up finding him, and he's not dead like we all thought. Oh no, quite the opposite. Bro is just chilling on a mountain enjoying life. Honestly, he looks like a homeless dude I saw the other day, except this time I did take the food he offered me, and I got the outcome that would be expected when eating what the homeless guy gives you: death. Nah, I'm just kidding. That little poison apple just makes us trip, and we ended up having to battle our own spirit or something. And the fight was honestly hard, which makes me confirm the fact that I am the best because I can't even beat myself in a fight. Once I did though, it basically set us free, as they say in the religious community. And then I finally got a trophy after completing all of those cult missions. I also got another one after I was back in the real world and chatted up this post-apocalyptic babe. Just doing my scout honor, what can I say? I also had to steal supplies for this blind black lady from the first game. And once I did, that was sort of her mission complete, and we got her added to our team as a new side character to help us out, and it gave me a trophy for getting her. This whole side character system was much more prevalent inside of Far Cry 5, to be honest, and I rarely saw need of it in this game, mostly because of how dry it is to begin with. So I basically forgot it existed is what I'm trying to say. Oh yeah, we also had another side mission where we got to save Nick Rye. This is one of the more main characters from Far Cry 5 as well, and he had a classic plane mission just like in the previous game. God, I love it when companies make games entirely based off of nostalgia trips. Totally not a disappointment every time. But when we did get him back, I got another trophy if you were wondering. I then got an actually big story mission for once where we got to confront the highwaymen leaders for pretty much the first time in the entire game. First though, I had to defuse a bunch of bombs from people so nobody blew up and died. Always want to avoid that. But then we got asked to come see the leaders at the top of the building they were in. While in the building, I had to be chained up because I guess they are freaky like that. But these sons of bitches just shot my boy Rush right in my face and thought I wouldn't completely lose my mind. Yeah, we then got to use all of our drug powers and somehow broke the chains holding us back again to go beat them up, only to be shot off the tower, so failed opportunity. This is why you don't bring a knife, or rather nothing, to a gunfight.
That's true, yeah.
And yeah, we had a whole little memorial for Rush, who is now dead. Rest in peace. But they could have at least gave me a trophy for all of that. God damn. I did get one from crafting 3 weapons though a few minutes after, so it's okay. And actually another from crafting my first legendary weapon also, so that's pretty cool. I then decided to sort of grind Outpost because I was bored out of my mind with this story, and it was low-key driving me a bit crazy, which is why I took that legendary gun I just got and abused some people with it. Starting with this enforcer on the ground, finishing him off the headshot. God bless America. I also went after, in my opinion, the hardest trophy in terms of just skill in the game. It's called Pure Ninja. You have to complete an entire outpost on tier 3 difficulty without being spotted once or having reinforcements called. This is damn near impossible due to the fact that enforcers don't die in one shot no matter what you do, meaning you either have to time shots up perfectly or just go in bare-fisted and stealth the shit out of them. So this took me about an hour straight to get, I'm not gonna lie, and I kind of did want to cry by the end of it, but I did finally get it and was beyond relieved. So now I began really going after that complete all outpost on hardest difficulty trophy, which isn't even hard, it's just a grind. And while doing all these outposts, I crafted 10 medkits total for another trophy. And that was actually the last one I got before completing every outpost on tier 3 difficulty right here. So yeah, kind of boring, but hey, I did it, and now we get to go back to the main story. Yay. Oh god. In the first mission back, I had to infiltrate a prison and kill some guard here. So obviously stealth was needed, and I got this takedown trophy while taking down enemies. And then the story pretty much wrapped up. There was a fun derby mission right here where you basically just had to kill a ton of people. But hey, it's better than stealthing to an outpost and capturing someone, so I did enjoy my time. And the mission right after was the finale, which consisted entirely of us just fighting Mickey and Lou, the Highwaymen leaders, who are women, by the way, at least I think so. And yeah, the ending was actually a bit emotional, which is a first for this game. Something of value actually did exist in the wasteland, and we just shot it in the face. GG, well played. Thanks for the trophy, you hoes. And that wasn't actually it for the story because we returned back to Joseph, who was sort of daddy now, and also got to shoot him. I guess the Ubisoft developers were trying to really end this storyline, huh? But hey, after the credits, I got the final story trophy, and now we get to move on to the cleanup stage of the game, which I am actually excited for since the story stage was so boring, this can't possibly be worse. Right? I first began by just fully upgrading everything inside of Prosperity, which is beyond easy since it just solely requires ethanol to do, and I have insane amounts of ethanol after doing all of the outposts earlier. I then began doing some new missions called Expeditions, which are like outposts, but away from the normal map, and you have to steal a package every time, and then you just exfil. I also took this as a time to start farming some combat trophies I had yet to get, starting first with a double jump execution. God, I love physics. I also just threw 3 smoke grenades for shits and giggles and got another trophy right after. But once I survived the zombie-like waves waiting for my exfil helicopter to come in, I got a trophy for completing the first expedition and flying off into the sunset. On another expedition later, I finally got 10 kills within one use of this power called Wrath. I know, super original name right there. But you basically just take no damage and get to punch the shit out of people, so it's pretty fun. I then got another combat trophy from throwing a shield and killing 5 enemies total with it, which literally made me feel like Captain America, and even the game knows it copied it. Honestly, love that. I then did a charged melee attack on complete accident and knocked off someone's helmet, which is a trophy because why not? And I bought the same perk 5 times in a row because I'm retarded. No, actually, it's a trophy since the game is retarded. And finally, I managed to get 3 working matches with one of my friends in the co-op expeditions. This trophy requires you to finish 3 of them with another player, which isn't hard at all. Except the servers for this game suck so much cock we constantly disconnected, and it was a giant pain in the ass. However, it finally did work, so there's that dumbass trophy. An hour after that, I finally completed all expeditions on the highest difficulty as well, which again is not hard, just extremely grindy and boring because you do the same thing over and over just for the glorious trophy. I then drove a sidecar around with a dog companion named Timber for yet again another trophy, man's true best friend. And then I cracked 5 safes total in the game, which just gives you resources, so kinda lame, but hey, look, a trophy. I also completed 3 of these treasure hunts, got the pig companion who will be bacon before the end of the day, and also got all companions total in the game. I then killed my first monstrous beast. These are basically just normal enemies except with like 5 times the HP. I also found some Easter egg outfit right after when replaying an expedition, and I'm not gonna lie, I have absolutely no clue what this is from, but hey, it was a trophy. I then did some collectible trophies next, which are all very easy because Far Cry has a great system where you can just buy maps to display where they are, and I did the photo collectible trophy right here. And before the other collectible trophy, I finally found an oil tanker driving around and managed to repair it before it blew up. I then drove it to an outpost to get the trophy gotten from doing that. Unironically hard to find these things, by the way. It's crazy. So yeah, I then went back to collectibles and found all of the music players in the game. Again, very, very easy. Followed right after with me getting all perks in addition for another trophy. I then caught all the fish types in the game, which is very easy again. Man, I'm starting to sound like a record on repeat right now. This game is easy if you couldn't tell, but that doesn't mean it is horribly bad just as a game. I also forgot to record this next trophy, but it was just from jumping and saving yourself from dying with the double jump. Yeah, it was kind of a dumb trophy. And then right after, I finally killed the last animal I had yet to and skinned it, giving me the trophy from that. Next trophy I went after was from throwing dynamite in the water while driving the plane that can't fly, in hopes of it getting blown up and sent into the air to go on a quote-unquote small flight. Kind of a weird trophy, but whatever. I also got a bayonet execution next, which is kind of cancer because you can't use the real takedown action at this point in the game because it auto does the Eden specialty takedown, meaning you have to just melee with a gun that has a sharp end and hope it does the animation for the trophy. I also got a kill with a bow from over 100 meters, which was a bit hard because you can't really see distance on the enemies in this game and you kind of just gotta guess. But then my final trophy just had me farm 10 kills on shield enemies with the saw gun, which the saw gun is unironically good, and if I was playing the game casual, I definitely would have abused it had I known it just destroys enemies in its path. So yeah, I got that trophy finally, and then the platinum right after. So that was the Far Cry New Dawn Platinum Trophy experience. Overall, the game is just bad. It's literally Far Cry 5, but with a worse worse story, less effort, and it feels so damn soulless I could have sworn Hollywood inserted its morals into the game. Putting it in a scale out of 10, I'm gonna give it a solid 4. It is still more enjoyable than, say, Rainbow Six Extraction in terms of gameplay because it's easy. That's literally the only reason this isn't like a 2. Anyways, that's all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.